Hello and welcome to another edition of AXCESS Baseball Weekly. I'm your host, Vinny Masana. This week we're lucky enough to be joined by a very special guest, Oceanside shortstop Jake Lazzaro of St. John's commit. Before we get into our interview, we just want to say today's episode is sponsored by X Factor Performance Meals. They're a Long Island-based company offering meal prep and sports-specific nutrition for athletes of all levels. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at X Factor Meals. So Jake, you guys are off to an incredible start, 12-0. What's really been the biggest reason for your success this year?
Well, so far this year, our offense has really been putting up great numbers, almost averaging around 10 runs a game throughout our first 3 or 4 series. In our first game against Farmingdale, we didn't score that much. They had a very good pitcher, throwing nice. But we managed to come up with some hits later in the game and win the game. But our pitching's phenomenal. Last year was phenomenal. This year it's been fantastic. But our offense has really been putting up great numbers for us this year.
Now I noticed that the crux of the team, the core of the team, is pretty young, mostly juniors, and they were also all on varsity last year. Guys like yourself, TJ Thorne, Brennan McFall's a senior, but most of the position players are younger guys. Is that something that you noticed when you guys were, 8th, 9th grade coming up, that this would be a special group of guys?
Yeah, when we started playing in middle school with each other, and we all kind of played the infield, me, Chris Nicholas, Leo Alvarez, we all played together since we were younger. And as we went on through high school and stuff, we realized that we're all going to stay where we play and what we're going to do. And our whole infield is junior still, with Noah at second and Frankie at third. Austin plays outfield now. He plays center, but we have a young position-based team, but most of our pitchers are seniors.
And that means you guys are going to be dangerous for the next 2 years. That's bad news for the conference opponents. Now, last year, you guys, another really good year. It seems like Oceanside has built up a very good program over the years, but especially last year, you made it right up to the semifinals. Is that something that you're motivated by, that loss to Massapequa?
Yeah, well, last year we swept Pico in the regular season. We felt great about ourselves going into that series in the playoffs against them. We lost the first one home at us, and we went into them needing to win a game. We went into the 12th, 13th inning with just back-to-back bases loaded, just getting outs after outs, and they just got that one hit that got them to run the last inning and sent them off, and that really just bothered us because we knew we definitely could have beat them with sweeping them in the regular season, and then going on to win the LIC counties and going on to states.
That had to bother you a little.
Yeah, left a bad taste in our mouth knowing that we could have done that.
Now, you swept them last year. You've won the first 2 games of the series this week. Obviously, the rain today put a damper on things. But what has been I know you're not going to say you own them, but how come you guys have had success against them in the regular season? What do you think has been the key against a good coach team like that?
Well, they're a very good team, offensively, defensively. Their pitching is fantastic, but I think we really just set the tone by coming out aggressive at the plate, shutting down everything early in the game, playing solid defense, and just having solid at-bats against their pitchers.
Now, just to shift gears for a little bit, we'll talk about your college commitment. St. John's, obviously one of the premier programs in the nation, of course, in the Northeast. How did that come to be?
Well, throughout the summer, I wasn't really necessarily looking at any specific colleges. I was just kind of playing, having fun, and a couple colleges started contacting me and stuff. One of my coaches, Chris LaPiccolo, and Coach A over at Deer Park, and Vinny Rubino with NYT, they helped a lot throughout the process and stuff. And when St. John's came in contact with me, Vinny really helped me out with that and stuff, and to really set me up with them.
Now, you're also a very talented football player. You made it all the way to the Long Island championship game. And in my estimation, those atmospheres are like nothing else, those playoff games in football. What stands out to you the most about your playoff run last year?
Yeah, it was crazy. All of our games were packed, even throughout the regular season. Our stands was packed. We have our little student section with 309, and all the students would be there. But later in the playoff games, you'd see random families that don't have kids in the program come and watch us play. Especially in the LIC, the Stony Brook was packed with a ton of people, and the intensity and the loudness of the stadium was crazy.
Now, a lot of people nowadays, baseball players, are one-sport athletes. Was that a tough decision for you to continue to play football up until this point, and do you still plan on playing your senior year?
Well, when I first started talking to St. John's and when I talked about my commitment with them, they liked that I play other sports. They liked that I kept playing, that I played 3 sports with basketball and football and baseball. And in my senior year, I intend to keep playing football and basketball and my 3 sports just to stay competitive.
Keep that athleticism.
Yeah, and keep the competitiveness throughout the sports.
And before we go back to baseball, what was that like in the Long Island Championship? That atmosphere and going against an undefeated team in Lindenhurst.
It was a great matchup, great competitiveness. I mean, the first play of the game, they threw the ball up to me, I caught it, and I ran out of bounds, and I just looked up, and everyone was going crazy. I mean, it was so loud.
Just
it was
a sea of people, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So back to baseball. Who are some of the players that you try to emulate when you were younger, or maybe now?
Growing up, I always looked at Derek Jeter. Growing up, playing shortstop for the Yankees in New York. I mean, he's probably one of the best shortstop of all time. But now, when I watch a game, I kind of try to emulate Didi Gregorius, because he's a lefty like me at the plate, smooth at shore, has a great arm. I mean, he hits for power and average. I mean, he's a great player.
And off to an amazing start this year.
Yes,
a lot of power that he didn't have in the past. So what'd you do in the off season? Obviously, you have a different kind of off season being in other sports. Did you do anything differently to prepare this season as opposed to other years?
In the past, I've always hit with an instructor or a trainer or someone just to keep my swing level. I did that this off season, but I feel like I went to the cage a little more often, keep my swing up, keep my arm ready for the season stuff.
So what are your goals now moving forward? You got only 2 weeks left in the regular season, and then it's to the gauntlet of the postseason.
Well, I mean, as a team, we sat down before the season, right after tryouts ended. Coach came to us and he said, "What's our one goal for the season?" We all said, "States or bust." I mean, we know we can get it. We know we have the players to do it. We know the talent, the pitching, the hitting, the strength as a defense. We know we can get it there.
What's going to be the key for you guys to get over that hump?
We know our pitching is going to be solid with McFall, Carey, and Thorne. We just need to keep our offense consistent, keep scoring runs, and play good defense. No errors in the field.
Is that a confidence booster going out there every day in the field, knowing that your pitchers are going to give you a quality start and possibly a shutout?
Well, I mean, when you have 3 basically #1 starters as a high school team that all throw very hard for high school is amazing. I mean, it's not really there's not really too many innings where you're out there for like a half an hour. You're usually out there for like 10 minutes. It's a couple ground balls, fly ball, maybe a hitter there.
Mostly strikeouts too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jake, thank you very much for your time. You've put on a pretty impressive showing so far this season. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Vinny Masana. Enjoy the rest of your week.